All right, kindergartners, let's go ahead and look at our I can statement. Are you ready? I can write like an author I know. Have you noticed some of the books recently that have patterns in them? We have been noticing patterns in books, like Rosie's Pink Friends, Brown Bear, what do you see? Let's go for a drive. If you give a mouse a cookie, and Hattie and the Fox. There are so many other books that show a pattern. Have you noticed that? Well, let's go ahead, and I want us to see what writers can do when they're writing. And you may be using these ideas and writing pattern sentences just like the authors did in these books with patterns. Let's go ahead and look up here. Follow along with your eyes and listen with your ears. Writers think of topics they can write about. That's true. The first thing a writer needs to do is think of a story. What is a story that you can write about? When you are writing, you have to first think about the story in your brain. Second, the next thing that you need to do is tell a little about it. So you're going to share your story. You can share it with a buddy, like a stuffed animal. You can tell it to someone in your family or a friend. You can share your story with a teacher, but you're going to first think about the story and then tell the story by saying it out loud. Next, after you've done that, the third thing, and this is important, writers, ask, do I want to write that? Is that something you're interested in writing about? You have to think about that. And if you decide yes, that you want to write about that, you're going to start making your book or talk about another idea. So if you'd like to write about that idea, you're going to start your book. And if you don't like that idea, think of another thing to write about. So when you are writing, you're going to need some supplies. Some of the things you're definitely going to need are paper, pencil, eraser. You're going to also use crayons. You may need to use markers or colored pencils or pens, but writers use all sorts of school supplies to help them write stories. You know another thing that good writers do? They think of different ideas. Can I share this with you? I can write about stories. And some different stories that you can write about happen from real life. So real things that go on in our world. That's what real writers do. Writers also will write about a superhero. And there's so many different superheroes that you could write about. You can also write a pretend story, something that is make-believe using your imagination. Some different topics that writers might write about are something they would like to learn, like, or do. When you are writing books and using these special school supplies, you are also going to be thinking, who is in your story? Who is the person, place, thing, or animal that you might be writing about? Can I share a story that I wrote? I would love to share this story with you. I used a pattern sentence that our class family has been working on, And I also used some things that we have for school. So I was looking at some of the different friends that I have learning with me that have their masks on. And you know what? I started to draw a picture. So I was thinking, you know what? I could write a story about school, and I was going to tell a little about it, and I started telling about bear and penguin. Oh, moose fell over here. We got moose, cookie monster. We have mouse, a whole bunch of different friends. And you know what? I started by telling my story, and I asked, do I want to write about that? And I said, you know what? I do. And so I drew my picture. I actually started with bear, and then I added more stuffed animals, boxes, the presents, and our easel that we use for school. So when I was writing this story, I was saying it out loud, and I labeled my picture too. Do you want to see? I said penguin, penguin, penguin. And I heard there is a p and an penguin. And I did bear, present, moose. And this was for Cookie Monster. Oh, and I also did board for the dry erase board. Did you notice that down below I did a pattern? Let me show you. Our class family's been working on this. We will learn at school. So we will learn at school. Let me show you the next part of my story. I thought about all the different things we use in class to communicate our answers, and I started to draw what we use. I drew a microphone, the video camera, and the hand for when we raise our hand, and I labeled it for microphone, video, and hand. Down below, I put here, we will use the buttons. So I have, we will use the buttons. And you know what I thought about what we do in school too? I thought about all the different things that we use to help us with our learning. And I started to draw pictures. And I drew paper, and I labeled paper, paper, crayons, glue, pencil, scissors, and then I put, we will use supplies. So did you notice the pattern sentence? I used something. Let's look back and see again. Look back at my story. I'll read it again to you. Are you ready? We will, let me put my finger under the word when I'm sharing. We will learn at school. To my next page. We will use the buttons. We will use supplies. Does anybody know what pattern I used in my story? Did you say it? I heard someone. Let's look. We will. I used we will in my story. Did you notice that? So, writers, I want you to start to write a story. What pattern are you going to use for your pattern sentence? Remember first to think of a story, tell a little about it, ask yourself, do I want to write about that? and then start making your book or talk about another idea. And remember, you're going to need some special things to write. Okay, let's get busy, writers.